Right over my right shoulder here is a cauldron sitting on a bed of coals. It's something new that I made for this year's Halloween, and I'm going to show you how I made it. It's much better in the dark because it is all lit as you're seeing right now. But I'm going to show you to make it, so let's get going. My name is Jonathan, and I'm a caregiver for my wife Lynn, who has a permanent brain injury. Things are a bit different now, but we're doing the best that we can. Join us as we experience the Lynn life. I love making things from scratch. You know, I do have a number of Halloween props that are purchased, but on occasion I like to make them from scratch because they're unique. There's nothing else like them. Now, of course, this looks much better in the dark, but I have to make it in a way that it can be at least as presentable in the daylight as well. But we're going to go back in time right now to show you how I made it. Welcome to the past, when the cauldron sitting on the coals that you just saw is not yet made. And I'm going to show you how we did it. So let's get started. First of all, you need a base, right? And I've seen some other people do this on YouTube. There were older videos, and they used cardboard. At least on one of them, they used cardboard. And I've come across some other things we purchased recently, and I found these two slabs of styrofoam, which is perfect, right? Because we're going to use more foam a little bit later. So we're going to glue these two pieces of styrofoam together to create a larger base that we're going to put this cauldron on. And I'll explain what we're going to do later. We're going to glue it first, and I'm going to use good old Elmer's glue and see how that works. And then I'm going to take a piece of cardboard here as well and use that to kind of reinforce the seam a little bit, because this is all going to be covered with the lights and the foam and everything that I use to create the coals. So let's get started with that and see how that holds together. I've glued it together. Now I'm going to put this cardboard, got plenty of glue on that too, and I'm going to press down on it. And this is just to kind of reinforce the seal. Good old Elmer's glue. And maybe I'll clamp it down. Some things on top, kind of like my cauldron here. Put that on top. Maybe I'll put some other weight here just to keep that clamped down. And hopefully it works. So what I'm looking to achieve is have a cauldron sitting amongst glowing coals of a fire, right? So, and you want them at night, they're going to be lit up. And even during the day, I want it to look like, I want it to be obvious what it is. So what we're going to do now that I have this styrofoam slab is we're going to put lights around it. And we're going to wrap this cauldron in a plastic bag, because we're going to use spray foam to surround it and create the glowing coals, and the lights will be covered with that. So and I want to be able to remove this cauldron afterwards, and that's why I'm going to wrap it in plastic. My base is glued pretty well right now, and so the Elmer's glue appears to have worked. And now on to the next step, and I got a 100 light string of orange lights that I bought at Home Depot, and a can of this spray foam. You know, great stuff. Gaps and cracks. So I've used it type stuff before. Be sure to use gloves when you use this stuff, because if you get it on your hands, very, very difficult to get off. So use gloves with that. Make sure there's nothing else around it, and before you start using that. But there's some other things I got to do first before we even get to that. I got to wrap this in a plastic bag. And then we got to run these lights around and arrange them in a way that we want them to be, so that these are going to represent the glowing coals. The plastic bag is around the cauldron now. I've strung some lights. This is a 100 light string. My son actually thought that was overkill. I don't at all, especially now I can see that I'm glad I got as many lights as I did. Go around here. See the lights over here. So it should be good. And I guess the idea is you start spraying foam amongst all this, and it foams up, covers it. And you can always carve it too later if you feel that's necessary. And then we'd move on to the next step. So I'm going to keep spraying this foam in here. I don't know how long or how much this. I don't know how much this can is going to get me. I might have to buy another one. I don't know. And this will continue expanding. Okay, I can see that I got about, maybe it's halfway through. Need to get at least one more can of this. I'll probably get two, just to make sure. See how much I need to add. I had no idea, so I'm just going to run to Home Depot and get two more of these. Okay, so it's still expanding, but I got two more cans to make sure, and there's plenty left over. But that should probably do it. I'm just going to let it go and continue to expand. And I don't know how long I have to wait for that to dry, maybe overnight, I don't know. So I read the can, and it's tack free in 15 minutes, and it cures in about 8 hours. So we'll see how it looks then, and probably, so that means probably tomorrow I should be able to start painting this, and I'll remove the cauldron. Well, it's the next day, and here's where we're at. The foam is all dry. I've removed the bag from the cauldron. There's the space for the cauldron. It sits right inside there. And last night I turned the lights on. I plugged those in, and in the dark this looked fantastic. I could see the light coming through it. It looked really terrific. And my only concern is that when I paint it, that the paint itself may restrict some of the light. Maybe it may block some of that. So I don't want to paint it too thick, is my thinking. But before I even start painting, this is what I want to do. I want to start carving this foam right here, like take this corner right off, and I want to kind of sculpt this a little bit so it continues to look like embers. And then I'm going to spray paint the whole edge black. Actually, probably most of it black, but definitely the edges black. Okay, and then I have red paint to go up on top. Oh, look, this is a loose ember. Put it right there. So I think this will look great. Again, as I just mentioned, my only consideration is whether or not the paint will, block the light that's coming through it. But last night it looked fantastic. It looked like the cauldron was sitting in a bunch of coals. Well, I've cut the edges off here. This is a different type of foam. This is that packing foams, all these little beads, see? So I've already made a mess doing that. So it doesn't carve as well as I hoped it would. But it's still, at least it's rough, and most of this will be sitting in the grass anyway, so you won't see it. So I'm going to start spraying black. I'm using this cardboard right here to spray on, and I'll keep moving that around so I don't make too much of a mess with the spray paint. But keep you posted, and you can take a look at the progress as I move forward. Okay, so I've spray painted it black so far, and I'm happy with the results. And here's what we got so far. I know that the spray paint is tough on foam. Not an issue when it comes to the spray foam anyways, because if it makes it a little bit gnarly and puts a few holes in it, that's okay. It really doesn't like the packing foam that I put it on. So I might have to touch that up with some other, like acrylic paint or something like that later. But so far, I think I'm happy with the results. I don't want to get it too thick, like I mentioned earlier. And because I might go over this with a little, like especially the edges, with a little bit of like dry brush it with a little white paint anyways to resemble ash. So that looks good as well. But I'm going to proceed here with some red paint up here on top and kind of blend that in. And I think it's going to look good. The real test will be tonight when we turn it on and see how it looks. But I'm pretty confident right now that this is going to be all right. I don't know if you can tell that or not, but I'm pretty confident. Okay, so I got the black and I got the red painted on there, and I don't know. It looks like lava to me. I don't know if you can see it exactly the way I do, but it's kind of like lava, and I guess that's what we're going for, right? So I guess the real test is how well will the light show through it. So if it looks as good as it did last night, we're perfect. So we're going to let this dry. I'll put the cauldron on it. I'll light it up, see how it looks during the day, and then we'll try it again tonight. So this styrofoam right here, a little difficulty, can dilute this, taking the spray paint, so I'm using some acrylic paint, see if I can't cover it up, and that'll work. This will work fine, and I'll get some of that done. Spray paint would have been a lot faster, and I'm only going to do the front of it because this is the front here, and this is the part that's going to be seen. But other than that, I think this thing is coming together pretty well. It's tough to paint that styrofoam stuff, but even with acrylic, but I do have it a lot blacker than it was. A little white showing up here and there, but that's okay. Because maybe it's ash, and it'll be sitting in the grass, so you probably won't even see it. So can't wait till tonight to see how she looks for the final reveal. It's going to be good. I want to put lights in the cauldron right here. I want to set them up on top, and I bought them the same time I bought the orange lights for the actual campfire. So, but these are different. These are multicolored lights instead. You've got, let's see, green, purple, and orange. And I want to put those right at the top here. So I broke up some more foam, some of this packing foam, and I put it in a black plastic bag, garbage bag, and I think I'll be able to set those right on top. I've cut a hole in the back for the lighting, and that'll plug right into the other plug that you know, for these lights, for the lights on the embers for the campfire. They'll plug in together, and then they'll go into an outdoor power strip. And this should give it a kind of a crazy, kind of an eerie glow coming out of the cauldron. That's the plan. So again, we won't be able to see what all this looks like until we're done. This cauldron does fit nicely in there. And so that's what we're looking like. It's going to be good. So let me put those lights in now and see how they work. Lights are going to be inside there, so from a distance, hopefully they'll give us a little bit of a glow. If you get in close here, these lights are on. I don't know if you can see it or not. You're getting a little bit of glows. You know, it's not dark enough, but I can see it a little bit. There's glow coming from within the embers, and at night that'll really start to show. It's going to be neat. So I'll be interested to see how this looks, having those kind of crazy lights, you know, within the cauldron itself. You'd be wondering what the heck is in that cauldron. Would be neat to have a little maybe a little smoke or something coming out of there, but that would be neat. Kind of huddled inside the garage right now because it's raining outside here. I'm working right on the very edge of the garage. So that's it. That's kind of what it's going to look like. It's actually done at this point, and it's a matter of waiting till evening to see how it's going to look. Well, I'm happy. Now that it's getting dark, I like the way it looks. It really looks like a bed of coals. And I think it's I was worried that the paint would obscure some of the light coming out of it, but it's actually improved it. So I can see a little bit of red. I like the black at the base and everything. It looks good. I added a microfiber cloth on the lights inside the cauldron, and to kind of diffuse it. Now, if you want to see how we're going to use this out in front of our home, you're going to have to watch our next video coming out next Sunday. Well, I hope you enjoyed my little video on how to make a cauldron on a bed of coals. If you have any questions, leave me a comment. I read them all, and if you have a question, I'll try to answer it. I'll do the best I can. But that should be about it for this video, and we'll see you next time on the Lin Life.